Hi, I'm Josh and this is John.
And today we're going to talk about our Fusion Plus shutters.
A little bit about our Fusion Plus shutters. We've sold this shutter at Blinds and Shutters Newcastle for around 15 years. We're exclusive agents, so that means we're one of the only ones in the Hunter Valley that actually has access to this product. That's because of the research that was done in the original days of the business. This is the best quality composite panel on the market. That's why we fought hard to get that exclusivity, to bring you guys a great quality product for a cost-effective price. So a little bit about the panel is shutters that typically these days come with a frame, which is known to be the outside, very similar to a door jamb. So you install the door jamb and then hang the panel. So the panels are side hinged, so they also have a removable pin. So say you've got a heavy piece of furniture and you can only access half of the window, you've got a removable pin, so you can actually remove that panel completely away from the frame for cleaning purposes and things like that. But yeah, so the panels are side hinged, so opening and closing. They also have a nice built-in magnet, which is actually a very strong magnet, and a striker plate up here. So when that closes, very strong, the panel won't blow open with wind blowing through the window.
There's a few different frames to choose from. There's this frame here called the L frame, so that sits inside the reveal. The windows need to be very square for this to work because we need to use no more gaps in the gap between the frame and the reveal. A more popular frame that often looks better is the Z frame, which lips around the edge of the architrave, covering that gap, allowing us to square up the shutter inside the opening.
So then from there we've got the blade sizes. So the shutter blades close up. They don't close all the way down. The look is designed to close upwards, and a nice flat hand, firm press gets them nice and tight. So one thing I like to show people is when you close the blades, if you close from the bottom louver, they won't close neatly. If you close from the top louver, they won't close neatly. It's important to know that you need to close from the middle of the rotation, and that gets a nice tight closure. The shutter also has what's known as a tension screw, and that's this hole here. This doesn't get capped, so that will always stay open. It also has one on the other side of the panel, and the idea for that screw there is to bring tension to the louvers. So the Fusion Plus shutters are designed to be able to be maintained over the years with a 25-year warranty. That's important. So that, by adding slight pressure to those screws, brings the styles in and applies pressure to the rotation. So if one louver, one panel you noticed a bit floppy, you can just give that a little tweak. So basically you've got 3 different blade sizes. You've got a 64, an 89 and a 114. So it's very specific to the home, the reveal depth, the style of home that you're going for. If it's an old heritage cottage, you might consider the smaller blade. It is commonly looked at now that it's a very Venetian look rather than a shutter look. So yeah, overlooking the beach or a country view, you might go for the biggest blade where the reveal allows it to, so you can get the clearest view between the louvers. Looking at the back of the panel, you've got what's called a tilt rod. So this tilt rod is connected to all of the louvers. So basically all the screws in the shutter are galvanized, and there's a small little cutaway here for that tilt rod to finish. That's actually a aluminium tilt rod, so it's designed to be strong, and it's a T design, which you're looking at it upside down, but it's a T design, so it can take a bump or a knock, if you've popped your hand through, or kids, something like that. So that tilt rod, basically, you don't need to operate the shutter from that. That's purely just to connect all the blades together. So, one of the options is split rotation. So you may want to have the bottom of the louvers closed and the top of the louvers open for airflow and privacy. A way I like to explain that is if this was cut here, you'd allow those two to turn separate from these two. So that gives you another tensioning screw. So you would have one here and then they would add another one there. So each section of louvers has a rotation. You can also do that split rotation with a mid-rail. So that mid-rail would be a brace that braces the panel through here, very similar to that's a top rail, that's a bottom rail, then you have a mid-rail. So that often lines up with any permanent structure in the window, and it also is a requirement once the window is more than 1800 long. So we often add those in, match them to the windows, and that also creates the blades to rotate in different sections.
So one of the main reasons we like the Fusion Plus shutters is because of their rigidity, and that's in the way that they're made. So up in this section here, where the panel opens, the way the panel is constructed is with mortise and tenon joins.
So the mortise and tenon join is the structural part that connects these styles to the top rails and to the bottom rail. Also, when there's a mid-rail installed, there's another mortise and tenon join there as well. So that is glued, screwed, and then those screw holes are capped off. Okay, so what brings a lot of strength to the Fusion Plus shutters is aluminium reinforcement. So that aluminium reinforcement is, you can see right here, that's a H-beam that runs right through the louver. So it also, you can see it here on the other side. So what that does is bring great strength to the louver. Often we get the request where people have got an older style home, or they like the look of all the scotia work throughout the house, and they might decide to go with something a little bit more fancy, a little bit more textured or decorative. So we have two options with that as well. There's a small surcharge for the bottom one because it's just such a large frame, but it does come up quite nice. We've used it on plenty of occasions, but certainly the most popular look is our BZ17 Z frame.
There's a wide range of colours to choose from. There's many whites, then it starts to get into creams and beige colours, and then into greys. White is by far the most popular colour, with polar white being a very white, which tends to blend with most modern colour schemes. If you want something a little bit not as stark or not so stark, there's vivid white, or with a bit of a grey tinge, there's white on white. And then it goes more into the sort of yellows and beiges.
So where you would use your Fusion Plus shutters is pretty well nearly every window. We do custom sliding shutters for doors, but most popular, everyone loves to see shutters on the front of the house. It sets off a really nice curb appeal, having that white crisp horizontal line. So that's probably the most popular spot where the shutters goes on the front of the house. Then often the bedrooms, because of that split rotation in the louvers, you can get really nice privacy throughout the kids' bedrooms or guest rooms. So that's the really popular area. Your busy living areas and busy doors are more suitable to other fabrics and window furnishings. But the insulation properties, the privacy control, the UV protected paint finish is just tick, tick, tick. Fusion Plus shutters are certainly the best choice for your home. Thank you for tuning in and learning a little bit more about our Fusion Plus shutters.
For more information, have a look at our website and check out our social media.